Welcome back to CPAC 2023. Today I have an amazing guest with me. I am so excited for you guys to be able to listen, and I really urge you guys to watch the whole video right here. This is not your average video. This woman has a story like none other, and I just hope and pray that you guys will listen to it and listen to what this great woman has to say. You guys are probably already familiar with her. Her name is Mickey, and she is the mother of Ashli Babbitt, who was present on January 6th. So if you don't mind, Mickey, let's just start with your story and, you know, what got you active in politics, what got Ashli active in politics, and then, of course, we'll talk about January 6th.
Well, Ashli's always been, patriotic-minded. She joined the Air Force young. She was deployed 4 times to the Middle East, came back to this country and opened a small business after she got out of the service, and then she went from Ocean Beach in San Diego to D.C. on the 6th of January to see Trump speak, and she was murdered by Lieutenant Michael Byrd of the Capitol Police Department. And he's yet to answer for that. He's not even been properly interviewed. So I think that, we absolutely need an investigation, a real investigation into the events of January 6th and the abhorrent behavior of the Capitol Police that day.
See, what kills me is the fact that they've not even interviewed him. I mean, if you run over a dog, you're probably going to get interviewed. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. If you end a life 9 times out of 10, there's going to be an investigation. And the fact that this, I don't even want to call him a police officer.
No, I don't either.
But this man would just terminate a life like that and not face any consequences or even fear facing consequences baffles me. But it really shows you the state of America and what they value. Would you mind going in a little bit about January 6th as a whole and maybe some of the lies that the media has spread, and just tell the people what actually happened on that day?
Well, the lies we can start with are the lies they told about my daughter and disparaged her character, even though she was an amazing patriot. The behavior of the Capitol Police, the thin police force that day, the lack of communication, the lack of leadership, the operatives, the FBI operatives, the bust-in Antifa, bad behavior on the part of our political leaders. Nancy Pelosi denying the National Guard, saying that, and they also didn't address the munitions launched into the American people were their first clue that day that they weren't welcome there anymore. There was no disbursement issued, and they launched over the frontline agitators and into a peaceful crowd, which actually drove them forward more. And also a lot of people think that my daughter was the only unarmed American citizen to die at the hands of police that day. That's not true. Roseanne Boylan was beaten to death by Metropolitan Police Officer Leila Morris, and she was promoted as well. Michael Byrd's name wasn't even released for 9 months, and they whisked him off to Andrews Air Force Base to live on taxpayer dollars under protection. He's been, promoted, and when people say American citizens shouldn't be there that day, Michael Byrd shouldn't have been there that day because he had prior excessive use of force issues, and he had also left his weapon, a loaded weapon, in a public restroom. So he should have been fired and not there to shoot my daughter. Further lies. These men that we still have political prisoners in this country being persecuted behind January 6th, being denied their constitutional rights. They're still sitting in pretrial detention 785 days later. So we need to get to the bottom of this. And if you're going to hold American citizens accountable for their behavior, then you need to hold everybody accountable for their behavior and the behavior of the Capitol Police, who aren't actually a police force. They're a separate arm of Congress. They don't answer to anybody. They're not subject to transparency. They're not subject to FOIA, and they only have an internal review system. They're not external review like every other police department in this country.
That blows my mind. I'll be honest, I did not know that about Michael Byrd and his past, and just his lack of good character. And that just really goes to show how our system is set up in America today. Fast forwarding to this year, January 6th, you were detained. Would you like to talk about that and the excessive use of force that they used on you as well?
Well, you were there. I think we were there to see what was going to happen at the Supreme Court with the Brunson brothers issue. And then we were going to lay flowers around the Capitol in remembrance of Ashli, Roseanne, Kevin, Benjamin, and Officer Brian Sicknick, who we believe died from neglect because he had a stroke, and they didn't render him aid that day either. And as we were making the right-hand turn to walk down the road, we were blocking 3 lanes of traffic because they had the entire sidewalk barricaded off. And we were instructed to move out of the road, and I wanted to lay flowers, and the only option was to go 4 lanes of traffic to the left. So we wanted to continue to lay flowers, and the police officer told me to move out of the road or to be arrested. And then I was arrested for failure to obey, which it was pointed out to me I did not fail to obey, that he gave me 2 options and I chose one of them. And then so I was cuffed up so hard that my wrist bled, and then taken down. I got the whole mug shot, fingerprint, the whole experience, the gloves. But then I was released, and charges were never filed. But I just and they said impeding traffic, but we were blocked. There was a 4-lane road. And once again, we had no place to walk but in the road. We would have been laying a flower and moving on with the flow of traffic in less than 3 minutes. Instead, they chose to block off all 4 lanes and take a half an hour to arrest me. So I don't think that the traffic flow was their concern. I don't think, I don't know what their concern was, but I know that we've been in D.C. since August 1st, holding a candlelight vigil outside the D.C. jail. I know you've been. Thank you so much for coming. And I think that they don't like us in D.C. We're in the halls of Congress. We are in the federal courts observing the trials and watching what happens with a small eclectic group that I live with in the Eagle's Nest outside of the right outside of D.C. And everybody that lives in that house works every day hard on January 6th issues. So I'm blessed to know these people, and I'm proud to stand by all of them.
Well, it really sounds like to me that they're targeting you especially, and they're targeting January 6thers, because I don't think there was any reason to focus in on you that day, but they chose to, and there was definitely reason behind that, in my opinion. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, because when we started walking, as you know, the road that was between the Supreme Court and the Capitol was closed down. And I know as our group walked, they were letting people in, but they wouldn't let us in because we had flags. And I did see the way some of the Capitol Police were looking at us like, just wait. So I did have a feeling that there was some concern as to us being there. But I'm not going home unless they want to shoot me too.
Well, I applaud the amount of guts and the amount of strength that it had to take to be told you have 2 options and choose the latter. I really applaud you for that, and it shows a lot about your character.
Thank you.
Of course. Last thing for you, for moms that are going through or have gone through what you've had to suffer with, do you have any words of advice for them that might just make it a little bit easier, their walk?
I don't. I mean, the only thing, I have 2 points of comfort. One is the fact that I've seen footage of my daughter during that day, and I'm absolutely 100% sure that was a good day for her until it wasn't. So I take comfort in that, and I appreciate the American patriots that were there that day to share that day with her. But I do find a little, I try to tell myself that my grief is not for my daughter because she's in a better place, that my grief is for myself. So I try to get over that, and I just try to strive to make my daughter half as proud of me as I was of her.
That's a really good point. God bless you, and I'll pray for you and pray for peace in your life. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you as well.